and Brad, the two most famous physical therapists on the internet.
Howdy, folks. I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we're the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Should you work out when you're sick? We're going to give you 3 guidelines. This is very timely because maybe if you guys were watching our videos last week, you probably couldn't even understand me because I had the low, throaty voice dealing with an upper respiratory cold type issue. So,
Yep, and it's that time of year, January in Minnesota. Everyone in this part of the world is aware of it.
And it's interesting. This is a question I started asking in college already, Brad. And back then they didn't have the internet, and people would tell me different things, and I never did know what the answer was.
Sure.
So it's like, I thought this was really good timing. By the way, this is interesting. Over the last 3 weeks, I've had to deal with 3 major things in my life. 1, I had a cold respiratory thing. 2, I had shoulder pain.
Oh, yeah.
And 3, I was getting some shin splints.
All at once.
Yeah, all at once. So I'm dealing with all 3, and we're going to do videos on all 3. So.
Well, things come in threes, they say.
That's true. I hope it's all done. By the way, if you're new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on stay healthy, fit, pain-free. We upload every day. Also, join us on our social media channels. I'm afraid we have more than 3. We should get rid of one maybe, huh?
Yeah.
Instagram, that's the new one. You're going to want to join us on there. We got some funny stuff on there once in a while. I think we're funny. You would have found this funny.
Funny looking.
Yeah,
perhaps,
that's true. Facebook, we're going to be giving away stuff because we're going to be hitting 1 million in subscribers on YouTube in a couple of weeks. So we're
maybe even less.
Maybe even less.
Maybe less.
All right, so let's start this off, Brad. The first guideline that a lot of people seem to endorse is that you do a neck check. And basically, your symptoms are above the neck, like you have a runny nose, sore throat. You can go ahead and work out. But I would not do a high-intensity workout because everything I was reading is that a high-intensity workout actually knocks down your immune system for a while. Mm-hmm. In fact, like if you do a really high-intensity workout, or like let's say you're doing a triathlon or something like that, people, I guess, quite often get sick after events like that, because their immune system is knocked down for weeks afterwards.
Sure.
So I don't know if ever you found that to be true or not, because you do triathlons.
Well, yeah, but I just do the sprints. I have a feeling they're talking about the longer distance ones, probably half Ironman or
even the sprints.
Olympic.
Though I'll bet you over the next couple of days you're vulnerable.
Yep. If you really push it hard, you can you're tired.
Yeah. Below the neck, so this would be body aches, stomach problems, diarrhea, respiratory congestion. Or bronchial tightness, that's an instance in which you would not want to work out, or very, very light workout, maybe a walk or something like that. I was listening to a podcast, and they mentioned, interestingly enough, that they have people actually take their pulse and their oxygen levels, the O2 saturations. You can buy one of these. This is a pulse oximeter, OXIMETRE, right?
It's not a spelling show, Bob.
I know, but people are going to ask, how do you spell that? So these are very inexpensive. You can get these at Walgreens or some, a lot of drugstores have them now.
Right. They used to be really expensive.
Really expensive. This used to be, I remember buying one for $600.
Yeah.
And now you can get them for like $20 or $30. So what you'd have to do though is you just put it on your finger and you push the button, and it's going to give you your pulse, and it's going to give you the amount of oxygen saturation in your blood.
Right.
And what you need to do though is to do this when you're healthy, and so know what your normal oxygen levels are. I don't have oxygen right now, apparently, Brad.
It usually takes 20, 30 seconds sometimes to.
Well, I'm just going to skip 2 because I just did it. Mine was 97%. You did yours; it was 99%.
Right.
And I'm guessing I'm at 99 now.
There you go.
So I'm guessing that normally I am at that high level. And I'm guessing that when I was sick, it was like 96, 95, somewhere in there. I mean, I wasn't getting the air. My wife said she could even hear me wheezing sometimes.
Sure.
So,
for a reference, if you're not familiar with that, anybody walking around that's normally healthy, you're probably well over 95. With sick people, if you get below 90%, you'll probably have cannular oxygen. And,
you have supplementary oxygen that you're going to be using. So I thought that's just a nice little hint. It's not the worst thing to check on yourself anyway, and it checks your pulse too. So.
Sure.
All right, the second guideline, number B.
Letter B.
Letter B. If you have a fever, it's always no. There's no working out. Exercise can raise your body temperature, your internal body temperature anyway.
Sure.
And if you're already have a fever, it's going to make you sicker. So
I think you could do some stretching just so you don't get
that's
stiff.
a good one. That's a good. I agree with you 100%, Brad. Do your stretches. It's a good time to maybe do a yoga type thing.
Right.
But you're right, because on the day I felt the sickest, I just woke up and I did a few stretches.
Right.
And I went right back to bed.
Especially if you're in bed all the time, you got to get the circulation going, but you're not going to get aerobic.
The third guideline I want you to consider is please, keep in mind your fellow exercises if you're working out in a public place. If you're contagious and you can't get through a set without blowing your nose or coughing or sneezing, people are not going to be happy with you.
No.
Because, even if you wipe the machines down, you're putting that spray out into the air. Generally.
Right. Do you ever see those videos or things where they show where people have touched, and you just imagine the germs. If you take a microbiology class, you don't want to touch anything after one of those classes, because and that's the biggest thing about spreading germs is through your hands.
Yep, it is
by far.
And that's why they often recommend if you sneeze into your. Well, I remember one of the doctors used to open his jacket up and he'd sneeze into it.
Sure.
And make sure yourself, you want to wash your hands and keep your hands away from your eyes and your mouth.
Right.
Because that's the entry points a lot of times for these germs here. So
Yeah.
the bonus here for this video is you want to ease back into exercise kind of in proportion to how long you were sick. So if you're sick for 3 days, kind of take 3 days to ease back in.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. And the final thing is, what I found personally, Brad, is that when you get sick, sleep really is important. Luckily, what happened for me, I had a day last week that I didn't get called in at all, so I slept all day long, and I felt really good after that already. Then, and I think if I would have worked that day, this thing would have dragged on further.
Did you stay up all night then?
No, I worked. That's the whole thing. I slept the night before long,
Yep.
woke up, slept all day, went to bed early that night, and slept again.
Yeah.
So that's when you know you're sick.
Yeah.
So-
If you're not one of those type of people and your body's telling you, listen to it and get
No,
yourself better.
I normally can't sleep that long. Like you said, I've been awake all night so long. So
Wow.
anyway, Brad's little thing that you always say at the end, I don't even know what the word is for it. You take care of yourself.
Be careful.
Be careful.
Be
There. Oh, I thought it was,
careful.
I'm going to say take care of yourself.
There you go.
So that's going to be mine. Thanks for watching.